Hello Aquarius, welcome to the Black Hearted Oracle. Now before we get started, I'd like to pay homage and reverence to Mother Sustainer, Father Creator, and of course my beautiful ancestors. Now what you see laid before you is the opening guidance for your Where Do We Stand spread. And this is a two-part video series. The first part is dealing with your energies, and the second part will be dealing with your person of interest energies. Okay, so what we see here, we have oath, we have conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse, and we have the magic of the cauldron druid, which is caution, secrecy, and wary, and you have recovery, and you have key. So now what we can see here for you as an opening guidance is the oath card is reminding you that you must keep the oaths that you have made. So regardless if this is to another person or to yourself, you must be mindful that if you have made a commitment to yourself or someone else, you really need to consider keeping that. But this also says conclusions are within reach. And so I guess it's a conclusion of the secrecy, and you guys are going to be recovering and freeing yourself. The lesson is to know when to free yourself from these, I guess, oaths that you have taken. Now, the first question that I asked is how you see yourself. I received the High Priestess of Fire, the Gibbous Moon, Receptivity, the Return of Aphrodite, Workaholic, and Rider. Okay, so it seems as though you see yourself as someone who's very passionate, who's very determined to achieve these goals. Very creative, very passionate, you know? And it says you are very close to achieving your goals. So that's how you see yourself. You see yourself at the precipice to everything that you want. And you're very receptive to these things because you're allowing yourself to give and receive, to be in the flow of the universe. Because you've come back into your own goddess energies, regardless if you're a man, if you're a masculine or feminine energies. Okay, what this is saying is that you're in the creative mode of like an empress. And there's a lot of work going on. That is the intention behind this all, is that you're putting a lot of dedication and work into achieving these goals. And whenever I see this, it's always like a ride or die. So even though this is like a messenger, you know, something coming in real frequently because you can see the letter in the message bag. But what this is to me is like, be careful of what you're riding for. And if you are going to be a ride or die, make sure it is for your dreams and your passions. The next question that I asked is how you see your partner or your person of interest. And we have self-worth, understanding, full moon in Taurus, water flight, growth in reverse, the woman, and gambling. So how you see your partner is that right now they're really focused on developing their self-love and their self-worth. Because you can see how this lady in this picture is coddling the heart above her own heart. And she has another one on her shoulders. And the Eye of Horus is represented here as well. So it's telling that this person is very intuitive right now, and they're really coming into their own of reclaiming their self-worth. And they're listening very intently to know the understanding. And as you can see, this one's hands and head is raised above to the self-worth. So this is what they're in constant, I don't want to say worship, but constant reverence about, is reclaiming their power. Right? And it says their dreams need a practical plan. But so you see them, they're at a point where they're more focused on the internal work, and you're thinking that, they need to be more structured. But what's happening for them is that they're a water flight. Heaviness is lifted, burdens are cast away, they're becoming weightless. But while they're in this process, it's a process of unseen growth. And the lesson for them was to learn, if they're the feminine energy, is not to gamble with their femininity. Or if they're the masculine energy, it was not to gamble what they had for another woman. The next question I asked is how Aquarius see the relationship. And we have the thinking woman, the happy family in reverse. We have the thinking man and differences. We have commitment. Your commitment is being tested. We also have first quarter moon, farewell to the moon. We have grief in reverse. And the lesson was a star, which is this lesson is for you, Aquarius, right? But what this is saying is this woman, or the feminine energy in this relationship, she's not really focused on the family, because the family right now seems to be going through very difficult times. Because remember, you have here that your commitment is being tested. And whoever the masculine energy here, he's holding clear quartz. So he sees things very clearly. And he's at a point where he's looking for some change, because he's beginning to notice the differences. This is the moon. He's knowing that there's a lot of things that are being spoken. I saw the cat and just automatically thought differences. Okay, sorry. He's beginning to notice there's a lot of unspoken things within this relationship that is causing the relationship to be unbalanced. And the masculine energy is also believing that this woman is unthoughtful and refusing the transformation that's necessary to turn their family back in the right position. And there's a lot of cycles, because remember, there's a lot of hidden here, because the moon came out twice, well, 3 times, but we'll disregard this one. So, but the moon came out twice here in this thing, right? And this masculine energy is wanting to put an end to the grief, and so are you. Because this is how you're seeing the relationship. So if you're the female in this relationship, you're at the point where you're thinking this relationship is dead in the water. And your masculine is also thinking the same way, because there's so much things that he's not saying. But he's heavy in thought. And I guess you're done thinking if you happen to be the feminine energy, and you're speaking a lot more now. Because the lesson is to look for the good in this, to look for the benefits that's coming into this relationship. And to move away from the grief and the hidden things, and to be able to turn this family right side up. The next question I asked is, what are Aquarius expecting? And we have the door to romance. Expect powerful change. A time to give rather than to take. And you have luck is on your side. You have the song of the siren, vulnerability, instinct, and the lesson was wish. The wishing well. So Aquarius, it seems as though you're really expecting romance. And remember that the heart of the matter was the key. And if you notice, this heart is in a cage and this person has the ability to unlock. But there's a lot of change that is necessary. Right? And you're planning on following your instincts and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to give a little more. Because you're being summoned to this. You're coming to a point where you're realizing that you're going to have to soften yourself just a little bit and be a little bit more vulnerable. And it's time to acknowledge the fact that you need to be vulnerable even though you are following your instincts. And when you do this, the luck will be on your side. And the wishing well is really telling you that the more you're wishing and looking into this well, what you see more of is yourself. You know, and the more that you do this, you can expect powerful change in your life. But you're going to have to learn to be vulnerable in order to be able to access this door to romance. Now, the outcome is the Sun, the North Node, Atlantis. Then you have trickery, perception, and wisdom. And the lesson was labyrinth. So this right here, right, it is saying so much, and it's actually quite beautiful because the outcome is the happiest sun in the deck. I mean, happiest card in the deck, which is the Sun. I mean, and there's so much healing within this card because there's the goldfish, which signifies luck. There's the book of wisdom. You know, there's growth happening here. There's creativity. There's the lotus emergence coming from the deep, dark depths. There's music. There's a baby. You know, and there's the sun. So what this is saying is that, you know, look for the good in your relationship. Step out of your comfort zone because something is going to happen so rapidly that's going to change your perception. And it's going to move you away from being, either if you're the one who's being tricky, you know, and doing things that are unnecessary, you're going to have to change your perception because these are all dealing with your heart chakra. So it's saying that you need to have a perception change and look for the wisdom within this whole scenario and this whole relationship of what you're going to. And you're going to be forced to step out of your comfort zone rapidly. And if you could do this, it'll bring to success. Because right now you have to be able to find the peace that is there for you at the center of the labyrinth. But right now you guys are roaming aimlessly. Because you're caught more up in this trickery. But as I said, it's a perception that needs to change. And you need to step out of your comfort zone so you can access the energies of the sun. Now, before we go, we have closing guidance. And the first one is skill, number 10. And it says, expressing your highest nature through your work is sometimes the easiest when work is not exactly as you wish it to be. There are hidden gifts within friction. Therein lies the secret way to a graceful life. You are not what you do. Your work is a higher mirror, providing a reflection from which to learn in your evolutionary process. Then work becomes a higher skill, and you begin to fine-tune not only your physical self, but your spirit. A Zen garden expresses the essence of life and a highly perfected skill. Come to the inner truth that produces true skill. Absolutely beautiful. Next, we have 4, offering. It says, every day of our lives we take from Mother Earth our energy for life. Yet we often forget the ancient tradition of a sacred giveaway. Take a moment to sit in silence and count the magnificent things you have in this life, even only the wonders of being given life. Reflect on the great mother, Mother Earth. Ask yourself, what have I given back to her lately to heal her? Then think of the higher vision of your life and balance on this earth, and realize that the greatest gift you can give Mother Earth and your fellow humans is your own enlightenment. In this way, you tear away the veils of ignorance and present the magnificence of your being to everyone who experiences you. Everyone around you is uplifting and inspired. This is your offering. So Aquarius, it seems like you're being called to a higher consciousness. And for you to view your life not just as a mundane, drawn down, but a full expression of the Creator and Mother Sustainer. So I hope you can find some way to integrate these messages into your life and know that if you could just change your perception with the things, you can turn so many different things upright in your life. All right, Aquarius, I thank you for coming to the Black Hearted Oracle. I hope these messages found you well, and I pray that you find your higher self in the quiet places, and may Ma'at hold you in her loving grace. Ashe.